Hey everybody, welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator. So at the end of the last episode we grabbed in the story job just quickly, which we've got to go through and do that. So I'm not going to spend too much time going over that because we're sort of more interested in getting the restoration jobs done. But this one here, honestly, this one's pretty close to just being a full restoration anyway. Might be just quicker and easier to just go through and just reco the whole thing and give them back a brand new car. But you may notice that at the end of last episode we had about 102,000 credits, dollars, coin, whatever you want to call it. But if you have a look, we've now got only 9,000. And the reason for that is because I just ducked back to the junkyard and had another look and came across a couple of things that I decided to get. So I'll show you a couple of them now, but there is one more that I'm not going to show yet. I will keep that one for later. So we got this one, which if we have a look, so it's under the 200,000, so we're going to make good money doing the restoration on. So that was only cost us about 10,000 or just under. Haven't done anything to this one yet, so that one's just sitting here because we'll start with the wash as we usually do, which gives us the instant credit. But I also unlocked the paint booth, which if we just run back in here quickly, just so if we have a look, so that was one of the unlocks that we were looking at doing, so that's where another big chunk of the money went. So we haven't unlocked all the extras yet. There is a couple other things that we could probably look at unlocking, which we probably will, but we'll go through those shortly. We'll come back to that. What I wanted to show you is the paint booth. So I grabbed another car which I've gone through and done all the restoration on, and this one I was actually able to go through and completely restore. So every single part on this one has been done. So this one I bought for what was it? About 3,500, and it's currently looking at 81,000, which will predominantly give us our money back that we had to start with. But before we sell it, we're just going to paint it. Now I'm not going to go sort of anything sort of over the top on this. I'll probably actually just leave it the standard color, just do it in the metallic. It gives it that sort of nice shine to it, I'm pretty sure that's what it was to begin with. So that's going to cost us 1,000 to do that. And then we can now sell that one, so painting it doesn't actually give us any extra money by the looks of it. It's just something that we do for our own benefit, just so we're selling something that looks a lot cleaner and finished. Now if we go in, we'll sell that. That one is gone. And then what we'll do now is go through, get this one restored, which this one will be a nice little job. It should give us a decent payout on this one as well. And then once we've done that, we'll go to our main objective for today, which is going and checking out the barn. So the reason I went through and did this was just to make sure we had plenty of money, because if we go to the barn and they've got something really good but it's sort of a bit costly, and we don't have enough money, that's not something you can go back for. You only get one shot at it. This one here, what I'll do, a lot of the parts are a bit repetitive, so the wheels and tires is nothing new. The engine, we might run through that. It's a V8 one with a few little differences, so we'll go through that. But the body is a bit unique on this one, so that's the main thing we'll be sort of looking at, in that it's definitely a different setup to your usual vehicle. So yes, yeah, you can see by that these parts here are part of the base body, because when you repair the chassis, it repairs anything that's part of that. So yeah, so I'm going to go through. I'll get this all happening. What I'll do, I'll bring you back when I've got it all stripped down and the engine over on the stand, and then we'll go through and have a look at that. Okay, so we've got that stripped down, got the engine over here ready to go on. So as we can see, it's a overhead valve supercharged V8. A little bit worse for wear at the moment. So we'll go through, we'll get that all stripped down. So I wanted to sort of show this one because it's a little bit different to a lot of the engines, being a bit of a old school type vehicle. It has a lot of things that you don't see on the newer ones, so things like your distributor, obviously the supercharger out here. This one doesn't have them at the moment, but it's got the dual 4-barrel carbies that go on the top of that. So I'll keep going. I'll get this all stripped down. So we've got other things, because it's an overhead valve engine, which means the camshaft is underneath, and it's the rocker assemblies on top, which is a little bit weird. I've sort of always thought that myself, that technically the valve is in the same spot. So it's not really an overhead valve engine, which is what they are called. Because it's either overhead cam, which means the cam's up above it, or the overhead valve, which means the rocker gear is above it. So technically it should be a overhead rocker, or underhead cam. But that's just the terminology that someone came up with. The interesting thing would be, and I don't know the answer to this myself, before they did the first overhead cam engine, were they already calling this an overhead valve engine? So, or is that something that they came up with after they invented the overhead cam engine? So, in which case, this would just be a normal engine if it was the original didn't specify. So, anyway, perhaps someone knows the answer to that, but it's not something that I know. Suppose you could always ask Google. I'm sure Google would come up with an answer, whether it's correct or not. Who knows, but I'm sure it would give you one. Especially if the AI was involved. So yeah, so this is where the camshaft sits on the overhead valve engines. Which this engine is very similar in design to what my very first car had. Just as a matter of interest. Except mine wasn't the supercharged one. Mine was just the normal one. But yeah, it's a Holden 308 V8. Okay, so that is all stripped down. What's that, 9 points off getting another level? So what I'm just going to do, let's just go examination mode. Oh, no, already did examination mode on this one. Okay, let's just have a look and see a couple of things that need to be changed on this one. I just want to get 9 points. It's definitely going to need some coils, so by the time we get to those, that should pretty much have us. And there we go. So we'll leave that one. We'll come back to that. But what I wanted to do was get some points in the repair section. Yeah, so that's 1. That's 2. Yeah, so I don't have enough to do any more of those, so let's just increase our speed for now, just to use the point. And does that let us repair? Yes. So some of this stuff we're going to be able to repair now. So the repair stuff works off of basically just like a mini game. If the marker starts moving, you've got to hit it in the green to get the repair. If you hit the red, it destroys it. If you hit the grey, then you get another chance. So go through, see how much of this stuff we can repair, see how many we hit wrong. So far I've been pretty lucky. Yep. There's one that we failed. And if you fail too many times, it destroys it, and then you can't repair it. And as you level up your repair ability, you're more likely to get an instant repair on the first attempt. Because you'll notice some of these are taking multiple goes. I've never actually gone through and checked, but I kind of assume the game would have calculated that it works out better to repair it than to just buy it, but because it does actually cost a little bit of money every time you do a repair. So hopefully it is better value. So I'm sure it's definitely better value when you get the instant repair, which gets more likely as you progress in the levels. Okay, so as you can see, the rest of these things we will unlock later to being able to repair, but at the moment we can't repair those. So. But we got a lot of stuff repaired. We did fail on a couple of the items. We can machine up the brakes, but I'm probably not going to actually use those, but we'll machine them up because we'll use them on one of the story jobs that wants the brakes. On our one, we're going to sort of upgrade the brakes on it as well. So. Just finish getting that one machined up. Now these, the repair tables, these all do the same thing. It's just there's a few of them scattered around, so you can do it sort of at whichever one you happen to be at. None of them are any different to the others. Okay, and now we get to go through and do the rebuild. So, but before we do that, let's just get rid of all the low-level stuff out of our inventory. Okay, so engine block V8 overhead valve. So what we're going to do on this one is actually make use of the tuning shop. What the tuning shop does, it's all the performance parts. So you can see the percentage, so that's your performance increase, which goes through, and so you got so power increase or stopping increase for the brakes. At the moment we're just looking at the engine stuff. So there's a few things that we're going to need, so it's definitely going to need an alternator. We're going to need the camshaft. There we go. The carburetor. So these ones take 2 4-barrel carbies. The engine head. So going to need 2 of those. Exhaust manifold. We'll need a fuel filter and a fuel pump. No injector rail because it's carbied. It takes a ignition coil. Not sure if it needed distributor A or B, so I'll come back to that. That is the cap that it takes though. Ignition wires. Gonna need a set of pistons. Gonna need power steering pump. Gonna need a set of spark plugs. Supercharger and the intake for underneath the supercharger. And that's going to be pretty much all the performance parts. It will need an air filter, or a couple of air filters. I can't remember which ones they are at the moment. It's probably those ones, but I'll get that once I've confirmed it. The rest of the parts we're gonna just need from the standard ones. Yeah, so let's go with that. Hopefully we haven't double bought anything. Yeah, apparently we didn't get a crankshaft. I was pretty sure I did buy a crankshaft, but anyway. So each of those performance parts that we go through and add not only gives us extra power, but it's going to increase our value of the vehicle as well. Now obviously we want to again go through and complete the whole vehicle, which this one, it's all pretty basic stuff on the hot rod, so it should be able to be done. So I'll just keep continuing with this. I'll get it together and bring you back when we've got a complete engine ready to go. Okay, so we are almost done. It was the scoop air filters that I thought it was, but there we go. Just trying to zoom back a bit for you. So yeah, one fully rebuilt engine ready to go in. Almost fully rebuilt. Let's put that last belt on. And the fan. There we go. So let's go. Stick that in the vehicle. See how that looks. Okay, now she's looking a little bit shinier. So I'll go through, get the suspension all together, and then once I've got that all in, I'll bring you back for the modifications where we sort of pick the tires and that sort of thing. Okay, so we've got all the suspension in there. We've got the engine in there, all the drive line in there. I put the exhaust on while I was going. We haven't picked wheels yet, and I just thought I'd bring you back quickly before I put the brakes on, just to show you. If we go into the performance section and look at the brakes, so we've got a whole bunch of different brake rotor options. These can be fitted anywhere that any brake disc is. So obviously, sort of, there you got the cheaper options all the way up to the dearer ones. At the end of the day, if you're gonna go all out, you may as well go all out. So yeah. Kind of, yeah, not sure why there's no upgrade options for things like your pads and your calipers and that sort of thing. It'd be nice if it allowed you to do that. Oversized rotors and that sort of thing like you can in the real world. But yeah, unfortunately, not every option exists. Same with suspension in the game. There's no suspension options in it. It's just whatever suspension it comes with, that's what it comes with. So no choices, no negotiation. Alright, so let's get in and have a look. Now, I I didn't mind the look of these back ones on the car. I think they sort of matched it pretty well. So I'll have a look and see what those ones are, but we'll put them front and rear instead of just on the rear. Pretty sure that's the ones that were on it there on the back. So rim 21, keep that in mind as an option. We'll just have a quick look in case we see something better. Actually, don't mind that one. Actually, I think even that one would sort of suit the styling of it. Yeah. But I'll have a quick scan through the rest of them, see if there's anything else that stands out. Yeah, no, let's go with that rim 232. Okay, so what I'm going to do something a little bit different with the wheels though. So we're going to use the same one. So what I'm going to want is two of them at 22 inch. So buy those. And then I'm going to want two of them at 18 inch. But these ones we're going to want a bit wider. So may as well, we'll go plus 20. Just having a quick look to see what the original rear tyres were. There are 275, 65, 16. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Let's have a look at the tyre shop. Okay, so this old thing, we're definitely going to want something with either some writing or something on the sidewall, just to sort of keep that old school look to it. I think I think that one for the back one, so we're going to need two of those. They're going to be 18. Yeah, I think that actually, let's go a little bit wider again. 315. There we go. Some nice big ones. So two of those. And then on the fronts, we're not going to want slick tyres because you don't want those as your steer tyres. So I think we'll go the vintage race tyre B to have that similarity. So we're going to need two of those. They're going to be 22. And we want okay, so 235 is the smallest option. So before we fit those up, not sure if I have to unlock anything to, oh no, I can paint parts as it is. So yeah, so when you've got the paint, you can actually paint parts, not just the whole car. So what we want to do is give this some kind of paint job on the wheels. Yeah. I think that'll do. A nice blue chrome. So again, this doesn't actually give us any extra sale value. when it comes to the car. This is just personal preferencing. So yeah, so use that one. So the good thing is it remembers you've recently used color options, so when you go in you can just tell it to reuse the one that you've already used. You've got to make sure you actually press X to select it first, otherwise it doesn't change and it paints it your current color. Done that multiple times in the past. So if I hold X there instead of just pressing it, it's going to paint it the current color, which I don't want to do. I want to make sure I press it. Okay. Now we've got some coloured wheels. We'll get them all fitted up with the tyres. Okay, and that's the last one. Just got to be balanced up. Okay, let's get these on and have a look and see where we're at. Now, definitely got to make sure we put the right ones on here. Okay, yep, happy with that. Gives it that little unique look, a little bit different to every other hot rod that's getting around. Now, body shop. So we can hope to see here there's nothing in the body tuning shop. So because it doesn't come up with that option. So we don't have any other options available to us. Okay, let's get all these bits on. Now, just like we painted the wheels, you can actually go through and paint the parts of the car separately if you want to give it a more unique look. Yeah, which there are instances where that might be useful if you're trying to achieve a different outcome. Like, so if you wanted to do the bonnet different to the car to give it that drifter look. Almost tempted not to put the trunk on there. Kind of looks better without it. Having just that timber look. But I'll put it on because it's going to complete it. Okay, so before we paint it, I think we're going to want these because we want to give it a bit of a custom paint job. So let's get these unlocked. We know we've got enough money now because the job's basically done and we're still at 36,000. So let's have a look and see what paint option that gives us now. So it gives us a whole bunch more colours, but then not just the colours. So we've got it gives us the factory colour options now, so that actually isolates the factory colours there for us. which, you know, that's an option, but we can then basically go through and set our own colors. Which we can do in a couple of different ways. And then it unlocks the livery, and that's the kind of the main thing we wanted on this one, because it gives us quite a few options. We can even have that old rusty car look. I actually think that one kind of suits the rest of the design. Actually, I like that look, I think. So that's the factory color. So metallic or the solid? I think we'll just go solid on that. I don't think the metallic does it any justice. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So let's lock that in. So we can get a photo of it. And let's have a look. So just got to add a license plate to it. But all in all, we've ended up with $100,000 car, which for a vehicle of that age and that's definitely a vast improvement over the original condition. So the body's just at 92% there, just because we haven't put the number plate on, which let me just quickly get one of those. Okay, so there we have it. One custom hot rod ready to hit the streets in. Right. So yeah, with all that, we've ended up with a top speed of well over 250 kilometers an hour. Now, unfortunately, we can't keep this for ourselves at this stage because we kind of need that money back. So gonna send it out the door and puts $110,000 back in our account. Now you may think, oh, you've done all that and you've only ended up with like sort of 40,000 more than you started with, but which, yes, I only got 40,000 more, but I've unlocked a lot. And as I said, there is one other little secret surprise which we will get to in another episode, but for now, what we will do before we finish up, let's head to the barn, have a look and see what we can find here. Okay, our first barn, and hopefully it's a good one. So there's a couple of things with the barns. So you do have the junk piles here, which same principle as the junkyard. Generally, again, personally, I don't sort of see the value in hunting through all that, except for one thing, which every barn, and it's a matter of finding it, and as far as I've seen, they only ever have the one, but somewhere in one of these shelves. Okay, yeah, so I found it here. So in one of the piles in every barnyard, they have the extra case that you can get. So I always like to get those, just because one, that's the most common way to get the barnyard maps as well, is from the cases. And yeah, so the more of those you get, the better. Plus, if they give you extra XP or credits or whatever, depending on how luckily you draw from the 5 options. Okay, so this is where we came in. So yeah, so you do have the junk piles you can go through to find your case. If you want the other stuff, you sort of always, that is an option there if there's something you're looking for. And again, like the other ones, if you're sort of hunting extra XP, you can literally go through and inspect every one of the parts on these, which I'm not going to do. I'm not sort of overly worried about getting the XP at the moment. That'll come naturally. What I'm looking for is anything that's worthwhile. So you'll notice that there's quite a significant price difference now in what we're looking for in terms of buying stuff, being at the barnyard, not at the junkyard. So it's 40,000. So it is worth 2,000 more than what we'd be paying. It's done over 200,000 Ks though, so obviously under 200,000 is going to give us a better return. So we'll have a look and see what other cars are here. So that one's done over 300,000. A lot cheaper car, but so you're not really going to get the thing. But if you have a look at the condition of the stuff, it is in a lot better condition than the junkyard stuff. And you do get some variations, like that one had some quite high bits. Some of them are sort of like lower. But yeah, and then got an interesting find here. And let's have a look at this one. So that one's under 100,000 Ks, so that one's definitely worthwhile. And we're buying it for $9,000 less than its retail or sell value. So I think this one's a definite yes. Newer model, good buy price, And this is why we come here with sort of a significant amount of money. So yeah, let's get that one, put that back in our garage. Now, I think it was just the 3, and a bit like the junkyard. So sometimes you'll come and there'll be like 2 or 3 cars. I think 3 might be the standard. But then every now and then you'll come and there'll be like 5 in the one place. So you do get some that are more lucrative than others. So obviously the more money you can come in there with, the better off you're going to be. Because if you come across some of the high-end stuff, and it's at a good price, and you don't have enough money on you, you'll be kicking yourself when you have to walk away and not get the car that you wanted to get. So yeah, I think we could get this one here as well if we wanted to. We've definitely got the money to do it. It'd be just a sort of quick basic rebuild and sell to just to get a bit extra cash. Which, what do we got? We got 75. Yeah, might just do that. Because if we can, just flip that one quickly, get us a bit more. That's going to give us more money to buy the parts to fix up the flash one that we just bought. Because the newer cars with all the modern stuff do take a bit more money to go through and fully recondition. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave it for now. What I'll probably do before we get back to the next episode, I'll quickly do up and flip this one to get us a bit of cash. I'll get this story one knocked over because, I said honestly, there's nothing on there that's sort of interesting or new or anything. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that we've already done. So I'll just go through, get that knocked over so it's done, and then we can get the next story job. I'll get this one, as I said, quickly flipped and sold, and then when we come back we'll see what we can do with our new Corvette that's not a Corvette because it's a Bolt Reptilia R6, so it's definitely not a Corvette. But yeah, so thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.